What's up, y'all? So today we're setting up a brooder for our chicks. We got a new batch of chicks in the mail. These are actually meat birds, but whether you're raising laying hens or meat birds, the same principles are going to apply. Now, when setting up a brooder, you've got a few different options. You can go as simple as a cardboard box if that's all you have and you only are raising, 10 chicks. If you're going a little bit bigger than that, then you can do something larger. Like, for example, here, it's got a lot of water in it. It's the middle of winter, so it's frozen. You could use something like this to set up your brooder. We have a DIY brooder that we actually have on wheels. That way we can, if we need to move them outside, we can do that. But I'm going to show you how to completely set up your brooder so that your chicks thrive. Now, this box is full of Freedom Ranger meat birds. It is the middle of winter. We did have a winter storm, and so I will be honest, I think about half of these that are dead in here. So if you don't want to see that, we're just not going to show you a lot of it. But yeah, we've got a fair amount of dead ones, unfortunately. But that is part of it. If that happens, call the hatchery you ordered those birds from. They'll send you some more, or they potentially can just refund you for the ones that were dead. So we're going to get the live ones out. But first, we are going to lay down our bedding. Now, when you're using bedding, I would recommend a couple of options. One, you can get hemp. Now, you probably have to order that online. I don't think Tractor Supply or a local farm store will probably have that. You can get hemp bedding, or the simplest options, which you can find at most all of your farm stores, is going to be pine shavings. Do not get cedar or cypress shavings. That can be toxic to the respiratory tract of baby chicks. Again, get pine shavings. I prefer the flakes and not the fine. And so we've got this opened up here, and we're going to lay down 3 to 6 inches of bedding in this brooder here. Okay, so now that we got a lot of that in there, you're going to spread it out in the brooder here. We got that bedding laid down. Let's talk real quick about your heat source before we put those chicks in there. You've got a couple of options and opinions out there. One is a heat lamp. Obviously, the criticism of a heat lamp is the fire hazard. I think the heat source is, to be honest, a better option, but a lot of people choose a heating plate. This is a heating plate. Way less of a fire hazard, and that's why people like these. I don't use a heating plate. I have it just to show you. The birds will actually go underneath this heating plate, and that's how they keep warm. Now let's talk real quick about food and water. I do like to add a little bit of apple cider vinegar to the chicks' water. Just a little dab of it. This is just going to help boost their immune system. So now let's talk about what you're going to actually feed those baby chicks. Now, for the first 8 weeks, you're going to feed a starter or a grower feed. And this is just a finer feed, and it allows those chickens to digest it easier. You don't want to go get adult chicken feed and try to feed that to these baby chicks. It's not going to work. A grower or starter feed is going to have a higher protein content, which is what these baby chicks need to grow and develop quickly. And that brings me to today's video sponsor, which is Scratch and Peck Feed. They make high-end, non-GMO organic feed. It's corn and soy-free. And it's absolutely incredible. Scratch and Peck Feed has been a longtime sponsor of our content here at Tender Farmstead. So if you're wanting to feed those baby chicks really high quality nutrition, Scratch and Peck Feed is your one-stop shop for phenomenal chicken feed. So we're going to fill this this feeder up here real quick. And as you can see here, I've got 2 spots on our mobile brooder here where I can hang the feeder as well as the water. And I like that because as the chickens get older, I can actually adjust with my chain here how high this is. Because if you just sit it right down in the brooder, they're going to get poop and manure in it. They're just going to be hanging out in it. You want it a little bit up off the ground so they can just dip their beak in there to grab food and water. And this allows me to adjust it with the chain. So now what we're going to do is get the baby chicks that we do have in here that are alive, and we're going to put them in the brooder. Now, I'm just not going to show you the ones that are dead because we do have a fair amount of them. So now that we're getting these baby chicks into the brooder area, we're going to let them just acclimate and adjust. And a lot of people will dip their beaks in the water. You don't have to do that. They'll naturally find that water. So now that we got these chicks in here, one thing to be aware of is how much you need to adjust your heat lamp. So the way that I always tell if this heat lamp needs adjusted. Now, it's going to be hard to tell right now, but once they get acclimated in here and start hanging out, if the chickens at nighttime tend to be directly all bundled up underneath this heat lamp when they go to sleep at night, like right now they're trying to warm up, so that's exactly what they're doing. If they're all doing this constantly, then this heat lamp is too high up out of your brooder. And that's the way I dictate if this needs to be lowered or not. Now, I think this is a good distance right now. They're still just trying to figure out what's going on, and that's why they're all bundled up. But again, if you come out here at nighttime and they're all just centered up underneath it, you need to lower that. If in the case they're all in the corners or in the edges of your brooder from your heat lamp, you've got that way too close to them and they're way too hot. So that's always a good measurement. If they're jammed up in the corners away from the heat lamp, they're too hot. If they're all bundled up directly underneath the heat lamp, then they're too cold. The most important thing to be aware of to keep your baby chicks alive, I talk about in this next video, and so make sure to watch that now.